Turkey, gravy, stuffing, and corn. Those are some of the foods you might have gobbled up this Thanksgiving. But for MLB teams and fans, what foods are they searching for so they can feast upon the rest of the league? Thank you for joining us. I'm Matt Becker, joined alongside Anthony Desher and Allie, Wenskoski. And Anthony, let's just start with you.
Well, there's no better way to start a dinner than with an appetizer. And I think Aaronola was the perfect appetizer for the Philadelphia Phillies. They know each other well. The players love to play in Philadelphia, and Philadelphia loves the players. You have a deal that goes for $7 million, or 7 years, $172 million, a team-friendly deal, just like some players before him took. The appetizers, this appetizer, this little cheese, little dish we have here, very, very reliable. Aaronola is a very reliable pitcher himself. Go hand in hand if you know what I'm getting at here. Over the last couple of years, he's had multiple 200-plus innings pitched. That is longevity. I mean, the only thing you might have to worry about is his health and the stress on his arm. But overall, I think this is an appetizer made in heaven for this player and the Phillies moving forward.
Absolutely. And I mean, moving forward, we have to go to the turkey, the biggest, juiciest main dish of free agency. And, you know, in my household, we may have pheasant for Thanksgiving, but turkey is the norm, I was told. And with that, we have Shohei Ohtani, and there's really no question about that. I mean, he's just been that player that everyone's been talking about. Everyone's been waiting for this free agency to come up. And if he got it last year, would have been the big year, but it's this year. It's finally time. And I think he's honestly going to stay on the West Coast. He has a bunch of options. He's up for almost $600 million or more, but he is injured. I mean, he's not going to pitch next year. He missed a little bit of this season. He's missing all of next year for pitching. I mean, he will be back, but I think his contract's so high because he can do both. And if he can't do both for, 1 year, it's going to be a little bit lower. So I'm thinking around the $400 millions for that, but I think he's going to be a Dodger. I mean, no one else is really coming close to the amount of money they can spend besides maybe the Mets, but they're not going to do it. And the Dodgers just have what it takes. I mean, they've been to the playoffs and they get so close every time, but they just can't execute and they need that final player. So I think Ohtani's a Dodger.
Completely agree with you, Allie. And yeah, the UCL injury was really, really big because it definitely lessened the money a little bit considering he's not going to be pitching next year. So we'll see how that one plays out. Next up, we have a dish that works with everything. This dish has had an amazing MVP season and then went a little bit downhill just to have an amazing comeback. Anthony, what is this dish that seems to work for everybody?
Mac and cheese. It's got to be. I love mac and cheese. I don't know if you love mac and cheese. I think it's safe to say a majority of people, or at least not lactose intolerant, love mac and cheese. But this kid, this poor child, he looks very disappointed in that mac and cheese. You know why? Because he's the Chicago Cubs and he's losing a very, very good player. But like we said, mac and cheese can go with anything. And Cody Bellinger can play almost anything, any position, and he does it very, very well. He doesn't also field well. He also hits well. He had an over 300 batting average. He had almost 30 home runs and almost 100 RBIs. For a player who struggled majority of the seasons before that, that is extremely well. That is a comeback player of the year award he got. Got a couple extra bucks in his pocket. Got a nice bonus out of it too. But Cody Bellinger is a dish that I'm sure all of these teams are going to love because who doesn't love mac and cheese like I just said?
Absolutely. And the Cubs are upset, but they took a flyer on this guy. I mean, he had a really bad year the year before, and it was a big risk. So they got what they wanted out of him, but unfortunately, he might be heading to one of those two teams. Now, we have the dessert that your aunt made that everyone wants to try, but nobody knows if it will taste good or bad. Allie, what is this dessert?
I mean, Matt, Anthony, there's nothing sweeter than dessert, which we have a pumpkin pie. Now, I think there's something missing here.
Absolutely agree. Oh my God, Anthony, do you have something?
Thank you. I appreciate it. The whipped cream is served. And with that, we have Yoshinobu Yamamoto. And he's just the dessert, the Swedish dish up there. I mean, he's ranked number 2 or 3 in this free agency besides Ohtani. He's a big name. He's never played in the major leagues before. He's coming from Japan. A lot of questions on where he's going to go. Now, it was rumored that he was going to go to a team that already had a Japanese player, but that was claimed to be false. But still have people questioning. I mean, if that's the case, there's only about 4 or 5 teams that even have a Japanese player. So that kind of limits it. But one of those teams is the New York Mets. They have Kodai Senga, who they got in the last few years, who's been really good for their rotation. And I mean, they just have to add someone. I mean, they're kind of rebuilding nowadays. They aren't really at the top of the list like they used to be. So they need to add someone. And I think that Yashimoto is just a perfect fit for the New York Mets. And they're going to spend the money for him. I mean, they're going to spend around $200 million.
Yeah, I think Steve Cohen and the Mets are going to spend every bit of money they possibly can because, well, they lost DeGrom, they lost Scherzer, they lost Verlander. Now, Verlander and Scherzer, they got players back, but they desperately need pitching. And if they want to be competitive in the next 3 years, this might be the guy that'll get you there. But we won't know until he plays a game in the MLB. All these teams are searching for food to feast on, but the question is, which team will end up with what dish? Thank you for listening to our MLB Free Agency Feast, and please leave a comment below for your prediction on a free agent. Now, for Anthony Desher and Allie Wenskoski, I'm Matt Becker, and you're watching Penn State Sports Night.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning into this edition of Penn State Sports Night.
For more content like this, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, give us a like, and follow our socials down below.
And as always, we are
Penn State Sports Night.